to come back to that like every single day. Because in my opinion, looking at your portfolio every single day will benefit you over the long term. It's a consistent habit. It's not about like looking at it every day and it's a major change, right? It's just the act alone or coming back every single day will benefit someone as an investor. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. That's what we're building.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Thanks for the synopsis. I appreciate that. I will. So we did transition straight into the content. I do need to run my intro really quickly. This is Making Time. This is a daily show held by the Syndicate Network where we highlight creators. That's a space for creators by creators held every day. Today we will be having Leon on the show. He is doing a bunch of awesome stuff in the space. You just heard about Moon Holdings, right? It's a portfolio app, super awesome, super innovative. And we'll have some time for you to talk more deeper about Moon Holdings. But I am interested in learning more about you, Leon. So my first question for you is going to be, what got you into Web3?
100%. So, if we're thinking Web3 as in like NFTs and stuff like that, that's actually fairly recent. But I've been a crypto investor since 2013, but I sold everything in 2014, and I got back into it in 2017 when I realized, oh wow, yeah, like the bear market was over and something's different. There's a new bull cycle starting. Um, so I was into ICOs back then, flipping those. So I guess that's kind of like an early form of a Web3 sort of. But then yeah, I think for me, like when we're talking about NFTs and Web3, like I started seeing it in the early 2021. But back then I was actually still I was trading, I was still accumulating coins. Like I was accumulating Bitcoin, Ethereum. I was actually buying Solana at $3 just because I heard about it once on a Kevin Rose podcast. He interviewed Anatoly once, like in 2018. And just various coins, right? Like I was getting a little Polkadot, a little Cosmos, just kind of speculating on everything. And then I saw NFTs, and I didn't get NFTs. Like I saw CryptoPunks at like 5K a piece, and I was like, why would you pay 5K for like these pixels, right? It's like so silly. And then I missed the Bored Apes. Um, and I did buy some NFTs just for art because like, oh, okay, I actually like this. This is pretty cool looking. But I didn't actually get it until like August of 2021 when the Degenerate Ape Academy Mint was going on. And it was just a few of my friends were in the space, and I was like, yeah, interesting. Let me jump in. And it was about that. It was about Degen Apes. A lot of Solana guys were on there, and I went to the website and I was like, "Ooh, I like these apes. Like these 3D apes actually look nice." So yeah, I'll mint a couple. And I remember that mint happened. It was like August 13th or something like that. But like so many people were trying to mint it that the website crashed. And I was looking in Discord, and like everyone was angry and raging, and I was like, no, I didn't see that as bearish. I saw that as bullish. There's so much demand that people are emotionally affected, right? And so they relaunched the website the next day, and it crashed again, and again, it's like just like the pressure and the buildup, right? And the demand, like it had like 10x, and like they got some help from Solana, and then they finally like rebuilt the site a little bit, and just they were told how to actually upgrade and scale a website. But so it launched. I was actually streaming this too, like I was streaming with some friends, and I instantly got it the second I was able to connect my wallet. And I was able to mint one. I was like, no, I don't want to mint just one. I want to mint like 20 of these guys. But yeah, so like that was kind of like my first foray into, I would say, NFT minting and yeah, and Web3.
Yeah, dude, that must be quite the experience. I mean, a lot of people, their first one is a rug, right? So you had kind of the exact opposite experience. You minted one of the most legendary collections on Solana, right? Degen Ape. And that in itself is of experience, right? Now there's like the Exiled Apes. They got help from Solana Foundation, right? Like, it's definitely an interesting dive into the NFT space for sure. So you didn't mention you've been around in crypto for a while, right? You participated in ICOs and things like that. You bought some Polkadot, Cosmos. You invested in some altcoins. So what got you into crypto originally? Like, was it someone in particular that inspired you, or did you just kind of stumble upon it?
Oh, 100%. So now we're going way back in time. So 2013. I listened to podcasts like Tim Ferriss and stuff like that, but they weren't talking about crypto. They were talking about this pill called Provigil or Modafinil. So it was the basis for the movie The Limitless pill. So I was like, oh, interesting. I want something like that because I was a developer and I wanted something that will like help with focus and all this. And I found a website that was selling it. It was in India, but it only took like a wire transfer or like Bitcoin. So it's like, well, I don't want to do a wire transfer from my bank, so let me figure out how to get this weird Bitcoin token. So so I forget which place I found to use it, but I found a website I could buy it for like $88 a coin. So I bought like I think I only needed like one or two Bitcoins. I got the product and it actually worked. It was like, oh wow, yeah, this is like super focused. So I was happy with that. So I used it for about 4 months, and then I was like, okay, yeah, let me refill. So about 4 months later, I went to the same website, and this time, like one Bitcoin was $127. I was like, wait, what the hell? And at that point, I didn't care about the pill anymore. I was like, why did Bitcoin go up in value, right? Like, what the hell is Bitcoin? So I started googling about Bitcoin. And back then, I mean, in the early days, you could literally read and watch every single thing about one coin, which is crazy to say now. Like you can't even do that on like over one like NFT project. But so I went to the Dallas Bitcoin meetup, this little meetup in downtown Dallas, like six people, and yeah, they blew my mind away with what they said Bitcoin was. So I did more research. Like again, there was this guy Andreas Antonopoulos, a Greek guy on YouTube. I watched every single video that he had to kind of learn more. I was like, wow, actual digital money. Um, so yeah, that's how I kind of learned about crypto. But then obviously in 2013 we saw like Bitcoin go from $100 to 1,000, $1,100, like a literal 10x, like insane, right? And I didn't know anything about tops or technical analysis or overbought and stuff like that. And then Mt. Gox happened, right? So Mt. Gox was like the FTX of back in the day. And there's also the Silk Road that happened too. The Silk Road guys got shut down in 2014, I think. So all that drama happened, and then we saw like Bitcoin crashed like 95%. And we were telling everyone to buy Bitcoin at like $500 and like all this. And like back then, like the population was so small that like like we just became quiet. Like telling people about Bitcoin, like it was, dude, 2014 and 2015, that was a boring, quiet bear market. It's not like the bear market now, which seems like a bull market back then.
Dude, that's crazy. Whenever you talk about this stuff, it feels like it happened in the 1950s, but it was only like a handful of years ago, right? It's like less than a decade ago. That's what's crazy to me about some of these OG Bitcoin stories. Like time flies in crypto, in Web3. But I think that's interesting, and I think it's particularly interesting that you learned about Bitcoin because you were trying to get the limitless pill, which I think is pretty funny. I think that's a pretty interesting origin story. So you said your background is. Did you say your background is a developer?
Yeah. I've been a developer for like 17 years or 15 years, something like that. I was actually a designer early on. But yeah, after a couple of cycles of investing in crypto, man, I built up a nice stack of stuff, of coins. Um, I in 2021, obviously I went from so COVID happened too. So the COVID happened, and during the bounce back, during the printing of the Fed printing, like I actually taught myself how to trade options and stocks because I was part of the dumb money community, who was led by Chris Camillo, like one of the best investors of all time. So I mean, you could if you in stocks in 2020 after the COVID printing, dude, like everything was going up. It was insane. And then if you were in options, like 3 to 5x to 10x your money then, right? So I was doing well on that. It was just good timing there. And then and then I got into NFTs. Like it was insane. Like in August, right? Like dude, it seems like it was much longer ago, but just August of actually no August of 2 years ago, not 1 year ago. But I did not sleep for like straight up like two months, dude. It was insane. Like I was like streaming like 4 times a day and like working a job. And actually in September, I did the whole thing of like getting two dev jobs at the same time. Only because I had a friend who told me he was doing two jobs at the same time. I thought it was crazy. But then like 6 months later, I meet him again. He told me he's doing five jobs at the same time. I was like, what the freak, dude? Okay, if you're doing five, I can do two, right? So like that was an insane fall, dude. Because like I started like those two dev jobs at the same time in September, and like it was a nerve wracking September, man. I was like actually nervous for the first month, but after getting the hang of it, like the meetings and stuff, like the next month, it was like, oh, okay, this is fine. But I discovered like NFTs at the same time, like that was insane. Like literally, I was not going to sleep, dude. Like I was in Twitter Spaces constantly, Discord, like dude, that was like Pico, like the Solana bull market had started, dude. Like, and this is how insane things were, right? Because like when Degen Apes happened, it was $44 a Solana. Again, like I saw an insane rise in less than a year because I was buying at $3, and I was like, what the fuck? It's like $44 now, like like because everything else was going up, which was good. The money printing and all that, and stimulus checks. But like when Degen Ape Academy happened, that was like 2 day event. It went from $44 to $88. Like the market cap for Solana back then, it was like 10 billion, went to 22 billion, like literally 10 billion overnight, guys. Like that was insane. Like I was trying to text Chris Camilla and everyone, and I was like, dude, like there's something going on here. This was crazy. Um, and I mean, and then I continued buying NFTs on Ethereum, but mostly I was doing a lot more buying on Solana. I was talking to the monkey guys. I was like, okay, well, what's up with these monkeys? Like the 103 Solana convinced me. Jimmy convinced me on a Twitter space. I bought this howdy at 103 when Solana was like 250 or something. um, but like, dude, it was just nuts. Like the golden era of Solana, right? And then that December it was NFT Miami, or actually it was Art Basel, but I fly down there and like a million degens descended on that city, right? So it wasn't just like Art Basel; it was like crypto utopia, and like all the parties, dude, and meeting all the Web3 friends in person. Like, I was on these several yacht parties. I actually started doing some seed investing at that point. I was like investing like like 100K here, 100K there, and like different NFT projects. Was by the way terrible. Like never do that, right? If you ever get into seed investing, or you start like 25K checks, not 100K. That was so dumb. Definitely rugged myself a few times, but yeah, no, just meeting Darren Mola in person. I actually met Jack Sheed, Nexus rugger. Like he rented like a yacht for 15K. So we're on there like just hanging out. But I got to see Mac and other monkeys. But anyways, like dude, like amazing weather, amazing people, like the food. Like I was walking through the street, I hear people talking about, you know, getting their new ENS domain name or something like that behind me. Um, and then flying back to Dallas, like transitioning back to like my dual jobs, and one guy was like, "Hey, yeah, are you ready to refactor this old Node.js code?" Dude, my soul dropped. Like in that meeting, I was like, "Fuck this, dude!" Like it was that immediate. Like I'm done, right? Like I literally I quit that job the next day, and then the second job, the longer job, like it was the same thing, dude. Like I was done. Like I was done the whole year. Like I didn't want to do it anymore. It was that soul sucking. Like they wanted me to learn Java. I'm like, I ain't learning freaking Java. Like I'm done too. I quit both those jobs within a week, dude. I went full time Web3.
Yeah, that actually transitions beautifully into the next question I was about to ask you. So you've been in crypto for in DeFi and all of that for quite a while, and you were doing that while working these two jobs as a software engineer. Um, so my question for you is like you just mentioned kind of how you ended up quitting and then going full time Web3, but how did you transition from going from a dev into being a Web3 founder itself? Like, what did that process look like?
Oh, 100%. So I think for most devs, especially if you have a long enough career and you work at startups, that should be kind of like your like if I was a chef, right, and like eventually I would want to open my own restaurant. I think it's the same kind of thing. If you're a developer, and you build up enough, like, hey, if you have an idea, you have the skills and the know-how and the experience to be like, okay, this is what a team looks like. Yeah, this is how you get servers set up. Like, let's build something, right? So I would say in that sense, it was pretty easy to do. And if you work at startups, you get to see like, okay, like how the fundraising thing works out, right? Like you see like your boss going and trying to raise money, and oh, what a seed round means. Oh, if you get a seed round, that like what an A round means, and whatnot. So just working at a tech startup kind of gives you a little bit of like, yeah, like not everything, but like you're in an environment, you experience it, and it's normal for you. So it's not like weird, right? And I've also worked at corporations, and that's a different deal. You just a number on the wall, and you just there to fill like some little role. But yeah, transitioning to being an actual like founder, it's like because I did like developing, I like coding, but yeah, I guess I was done my path like coding for someone else. It's like no, I want to code something for me, but just not just for me, but like I actually built a version of Moon Holdings like a couple of years ago. It was a portfolio app, um, and I was just using a free API, which ran out eventually. And then I went back to using my Google spreadsheets. And I've used everything. I go to like Coin Market Caps, Blockfolios, like Dash, like all the different portfolio apps. Like even like, well, Exodus is not really a portfolio app, so wallet. But like I always come back to my Google spreadsheet. So I was like, no, you know what? I want to build something. Now that I'm in Web3, and there's like I've met so many new young investors. Like every single cycle, by the way, like you have a bear market, a bull market. Every bull market, you get a new influx. So it's like 10x the size of the last cycle of users. And this cycle, we just saw so many young people, so many people who weren't like, you know, gamblers and ex stock traders and tech bros and stuff like that. There's more women, more college kids, and like they're just new. They're new to investing. It's like, well, let me build an app that will help them, yeah, want to check out the portfolio every single day. So yeah, that's what we're building. Well, was that the original question? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you more or less hit what my question was, which was kind of like, how did you do that transition? And it's pretty obvious, right? Like you as a developer, you had the experience and you've seen what it's like to create a startup, and then you just applied that knowledge into Web3, right? And you were talking about how you had this wallet thing that you built on your own before, and you're like, why don't I just do it here, right? And that's how what led you here. But you did bring up something that I thought was super awesome. And in this most recent cycle, a whole lot of young people came into the space, and I can definitely attest to the truth of that. I'm one of them, right? I was in college, and now I pursue Web3 full time, and it's definitely been an experience for these young people coming into the space to adapt and learn more about what's going on in crypto and in NFTs and in DeFi. So, a question I would ask you is, what advice would you have for young people coming into the space, whether they be investors or just trying to understand the culture?
Oh my goodness, yes, 100%. Like if I could talk to my 20-year-old self, like it would be invest, 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 and we get tired of it, invest some more. Like literally, like my 20. And here's the thing, I like in my early 30s, right? I was doing this, like I was that guy, I was that crazy guy in the office telling people to buy Bitcoin when it was $200, and here's the thing, I bought Bitcoin at $200, but I should have freaking like done 50% of my paycheck, right? Like if you're young and you have conviction and you see like it's freaking obvious to me, right? Like my Gen X and Boomer friends, they don't get it still. It's like, guys, crypto is the next financial system. but they're not getting it in their thick, crusty heads. Why would I do this? It's slow. Dude, like the internet used to be slow too, bro. And now the internet, you cannot have a global world without the internet. Like, but that's what crypto's going to be. Now, obviously, what are you going to do? It's so freaking simple. Like number one, number two is right there. Like it's in your like just buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, okay, what's number three? Well, freaking, in my opinion, that's Solana. Just from the organic adoption I've seen being on the ground, dude. Like in terms of developers, in terms of users, in terms of building, like there's like some crazy FUD going on that Solana's lost 95% of their devs. I'm like that is some straight. It's just straight lies. Like what the hell, dude? I've been going to all these hacker houses, like seeing them in person, like 3,000 devs alone in Lisbon that could have afforded to make it there. But anyways, wait, what was that? Yeah, advice for 20-year-old. So basically, like half the people you're gonna not gonna remember like over 50% of the people in your 20s. So I would recommend skipping out a few parties, um, and instead of buying some new clothes to go to the club, like literally like put that into one of those three coins I mentioned, right? Like or just invest, man. Just invest. Like if you just a freaking just buying SPY, the S&P 500, dude. But I would recommend like if you're gonna put money in SPY, put it in Bitcoin or Ethereum and Solana. And don't stop. Like literally, it's not about trading back then. It just literally it's every single paycheck, and like and you're young, so you can afford to eat ramen a lot longer. Your body can take it. so I mean, obviously, like maybe eat some rice and vegetables or something, but like be healthy and just invest. Like literally, like money, like start looking at money as energy. Don't look at it as like, oh, this is something some company gives me every once in a while. I use it to buy like foods and shoes and stuff like that. Like, no, 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 it's energy. So the more energy you have, it's easier to make more energy. So the more money, yeah, yeah, it's just money makes more money. So you have to look at it as a power that you can wield, right? And like and start thinking of yourself as an investor too. And that's one of the biggest goals with Moon Holdings, right? It's like it's not just, oh yeah, here's a portfolio app tracking shit. No, no, it's like I want to help change someone's identity as a competitive investor. Like oh, I see these other verified portfolios. Like I want to flip this guy. I want to go up. I even though I don't know who he is. But anyways, there's way more on that coming. But like, but yeah, think of yourself as an investor, and like I don't know, you've got like $20 a week that you can invest with. Well, invest an entire $20, and then like skip, going to a club like once a month, and okay, take that like $100 or whatever it is, and put that into investing. Like, don't stop. Like literally, like the entire life. That would be my advice.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's super valid, right? Like an investment you make now can 10x, 100x, like who knows, dude? Even if you put it in the SPY, right? It appreciates dramatically, and it protects you against things like inflation and other things that might devalue your wealth, right? And yeah, so you did mention something that I thought was pretty interesting, right? You said look at your money as energy, and I agree with that, right? I think that's a very important thing to understand when it comes to currency and how people view it and how they should be put it where they should be putting their money. So my question for you is, after all this time of being a dev and having all your web 2 background in your real life, how did you get to the point, or what did it take to get to the point to see money that way?
So as a dev or investor
Or
or
just
both.
just in general, like just as Leon, as a person, like what did it take to get you to see money as like energy?
Gotcha, gotcha. No, I think it literally was Bitcoin, man. Because as a developer, like at the middle of my career, I was making over six figures, but like that's normal for a senior developer or even like a mid-tier developer, right? So, yeah, I think at the top, my highest salary was like 135K. Had one job, right? But that was just money, right? Like I mean, a paycheck. Sorry. So a paycheck was coming in. I would spend the entire thing on the weekend. Like it was so dumb, dude. Like I'd buy clothes that weekend. to go and try and press people that I'll never know in like 10 years, right? It was so dumb. Like the so it wasn't until Bitcoin where I started purchasing Bitcoin. I mean, I bought stocks before, but before this knowledge of Bitcoin, I treated stocks as like, oh, it's like a savings account. Yeah, I buy some stocks, maybe 6 months, a year from now, I sold those stocks and I use it for the same not bullshit, which was like stuff that would depreciate or have no value later. But as soon as I got Bitcoin and I noticed how like Bitcoin, went up in value a lot faster than stocks, but it held its value, you know, over the years. It's like that shifted me things, right? Like, oh wait, hold on, do I really want to spend like $500 on the club this weekend, or should I put that $500 in Bitcoin and all of a sudden it's like $600-700 the next weekend? So it was that kind of shift, right? Like like 50, like Litecoin was like $50, right? It's like, wait, do I want to buy these shoes for $50 or put it in Litecoin and Litecoin will be at $75 the next, but really it was Bitcoin. Bitcoin just owning it kind of taught me all the financials, all the investing, like how to think about money and seeing money as energy, like seeing it as, oh wow, this bar is growing, and because of that, like, yeah, like I just want to like keep growing that bar because later you can use that to as leverage to do other things and like really expand. So yeah, I would say it's Bitcoin and owning Bitcoin.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, whenever I started understanding that is when I actually started getting into stock investing and options trading in the post COVID, right? When everything the stock market was pumping, we had the V-shaped recovery, and I was the Wall Street bets kind of person, but through burning and getting burned and losing money and things along those lines, like I started to realize that, right? Like, oh, okay, this is actually what's happening, right? Like the the transaction that's happening here, my time for energy, my time for money, so on and so forth. But I'm going to ask you, we are getting pretty close to time, so I'm going to ask you two more questions and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Um, so my next question for you is, I know you've got a couple different projects you're involved with as an investor, but you're the founder of Moon Holdings, and I'm curious, what is the most exciting part of working on Moon Holdings?
Oh yeah, I would say that is my baby. It's like I am the founder, like first time being, like actual CEO of it. I mean, I guess I was a CEO of Punk Adventures, but that's different. But like, yeah, it's like I'm building something, right? So I'm in my kitchen, I'm in my restaurant. Like I'm actually, I had to find devs remotely and like talk to them and explain my vision, and we're working together. We've been working together for months, so it's like it's a thing where it's like, it's not a 9 to 5. It's like a 24/7. But like, obviously you take breaks as normal. But it's just fun building it, right? I think there's a quote like, if your passion is also your work, that's like that's so much better to do, right? So yeah, I would say I'm enjoying it, right? Now as a startup, right? So there's a quote I think by Ben Horowitz that your emotions while you're building your own startup and running your own startup, they oscillate between like exhilaration and like, you wag me, we're gonna make it, right? We're like, god dang, we're gonna be a unicorn, to like, despair and terrifying. Like there's no middle ground, dude. It's constantly oscillating between those two emotions, but it's worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, I cannot relate to that more, dude. We've built our own NFT project and are now working on Syndicate, and it feels like that, dude. It's like it's like being bipolar. You have your mania, so you have your highs, and then your highs are the absolute highest things, and then your lows are the lowest lows ever. It feels like the end of the world. So no, I can totally relate to that. So I think what you guys are working on are awesome. I think you're doing something that's super needed in the space, especially for, as you mentioned, the newer people coming in, right? It's kind of complicated, or it's not the easiest user experience to keep up to date with what you have going on, whether that be with your portfolio, your crypto portfolio, or your NFT portfolio. So what you guys are doing, I think, is super super awesome. So I'll ask you one last question, and then we can go ahead and look to wrap it up. But I did want to say thank you guys, thank you everyone for coming to today's space, making time. This is a show for creators by creators where we highlight people's stories and learn more about them. So, Leon, my last question for you would be, if you had to start over in Web3, what would you do differently?
Oh, 100%. So, like, if you're saying today, like, like I'm working a regular job, I have no crypto, no NFTs. What would I start with? Like, with my knowledge that I have in my brain right now, like realizing that this is a bear market and we're probably going to have another 12 months of bear market according to the cycle, I would only be buying the coins. Like I would be buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, like hands down. Now, like you can go conservative, which would be mostly Bitcoin, and then some Ethereum and some Solana, or you can go balanced, like go 3-3-3, or you can go hardcore. Like in my opinion, I think Solana is going to outperform the other two. So you do what I am at right now. I'm like heavier Solana, and then more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more yeah, like that. So like a 80, 10-10 or something like that. But yeah, like starting over, I would buy the underlying coins. Now, once you get enough coins and you understand what some things like I also think that in my opinion, board D gods are gonna like challenge Bored Ape Yacht Club. So with that knowledge, it's like okay, with some of the coins I've accumulated, if I have enough for a D god, then get a D god, get a Ute, right? Um, Especially right before they transition and go to when they go to an environment where the money is like crazy like higher, right? You have like there's a lot more ETH people with a lot more ETH than there are Solana guys with Solana. So that, in my opinion, that's called a social arbitrage, like seeing a trend or a change that's coming up, which is going to allow an asset to appreciate higher because of certain factors that are just clear as day, right? So like like I would do that. I'll be very like very protective in a bear market. Like don't gamble too much in a bear market. If you can do things that can or like give you a safe yield, like not some crazy DeFi thing, like literally using Sharkify and being a lender on there, even if you're lending like 10 SOL, you're still getting back more SOL than if you staked it, right? That's the thing. Can I make more SOL than staking, but not, obviously having to watch some crazy, insane 200% DeFi protocol, and I got to know when the whales exit, so I exit before the thing blows up. No, no, no. just be a lender at Sharkify. So that's what I would do. Is just starting out, like literally, and my whole thing of like not going out, and just investing for multi years, right? Like you just need 2 years, guys. And like in my opinion, like this is the last bear market that will be most life changing for the most people because the next bear market, and we're talking about Bitcoin's over past 100, $200,000. Now it crashes to 60K or something like that, and the same equivalent for ETH and Solana.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that's super valuable, right? It's just invest in the main coins, right? It's and protect what you currently have, and stake it, and you be a little bit more conservative, right? And if you do have the capital, maybe buy some more blue chip NFTs like Utes, like DeGods, maybe even Tayo and some of these other big guys, right? So, I would agree with you, and I think it's super valuable information. We did have a question from an audience member. We'll go ahead and hit that, and then we'll wrap up. Sam did ask. Can you give us a brief summary of Moon Holdings? And then, do you have any available positions as something like an alpha tester?
100%. Yes. So, yeah, thanks for that question. So, yeah, in brief, it is going to be a crypto Web3 portfolio app. It will start out heavily on Solana, but it will be multi chain. But you will be able to connect your CeFi wallet, so Coinbase, Charles Schwab, even, and Robinhood, and your Solana wallet. So you'll be able to track multiple wallets at the same time. You want it to keep connecting different wallets. So a place to go see all your crypto, all the NFTs, and not just that. We have this feature called Ranks and Badges that will come out later, and basically it's verified public portfolios. So that's the gamified aspect of it, and the challenge aspect of it. We'll have random drops for like accomplishing certain things and unlocking certain badges. It could be just like a literal JPEG NFT, or it could be some dust or monkey token or whatever, or even some Solana. And that's where there's going to be a lot of social sharing built in, and a lot of challenges later on. There will be a mobile app, and then we will transition to, connecting MetaMask wallet later for Ethereum, DeFi, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what it is in a nutshell. And we'll have an NFT collection that will give you discounts on the subscriptions that come later. And also, same thing with sharks, guys. So sharks exploded, from 2.5 to 20 something now because of a rev share feature, and I definitely want to plan something very similar. So yeah, by the way, to get it whitelisted is the easiest thing. All you have to do is follow Moon Holdings. Let me go there to Twitter so I can pin something. Um, but join the Discord and just make an account. Literally, just make an account on moonholdings.xyz. It's our early alpha, so it's a design that I designed, and all you have to do is go in there and just add like one coin and put like some number in there, and boom, you're automatically whitelisted. Just need to post a screenshot like in the Discord. Um, and then yeah, so our collection will be sometime in dropping in Q1, and that's what the alpha test will do. And we'll have a new website design as well, like a much more professional design. And like, oh, can't wait. That's also going to come out in Q1. And being an alpha tester means you're just early there, right? Like this is pre-beta. Like beta is almost like like a amateur fight in MMA. Like it's just one step to production. But alpha means like there's going to be bugs, and you're helping us like fix all this. So yeah, that's how you get the alpha tester role and whitelist.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And Sam, if you ever have any more questions, you can DM me or DM Leon, and we can probably get those squashed for you. But Leon, thank you so much for your time. This was Making Time, a space for creators by creators, where we highlight creator stories in the space. Before I go ahead and wrap up this space, do you have anything you want to add, Leon?
Yeah. I would say okay, like 13 times maybe looking bleak out there, guys. But like I've seen this several times before. Just keep accumulating. Ignore the FUD. Like in bear markets, the people just get extra like toxic. It just ignore all that nonsense. Just use that as like, okay, something bad come out. Okay, cool. I'm gonna buy. And just like like invest what you can afford to lose, and just like think about long term, right? Think about the next cycle is going to be 2024, 2025. And where do you want to be positioned if Bitcoin hits this price, if Ethereum hits this price, if Solana hits this price, right? So, like, come up with those targets yourself, and come up with accumulation goals yourself, and I bet Moon Holdings will help with that too. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Absolutely. And Leon, thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on Making Time and tell us more about you. It was interesting learning your experience from being a dev, a super experienced dev, to buying Bitcoin through buying the pill from the movie Limitless, buying the Limitless pill, and then taking that whole journey. Right, I think it was very interesting learning about that, and I really do appreciate what you're doing with Moon Holdings. And I'm excited to see what the future for both you and your collection or business look like. So, once again, thank you guys for being here on our show, Making Time. We do host this show daily. Most of the time, our shows are at 1:30 p.m. CST or 7:30 p.m. GMT. And you can join us just by clicking on the syndicate icon when that happens. But thank you guys once again for being here. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you and bye bye.
GM.
Probably just be like paperwork and
Mm-hmm.
Excel